Hi everyone, it's good to be back. Today I felt like digressing a bit from what I do. Not really digressing, because I'm talking about entrepreneurship and business and what I do, which is film and photography. But I would like to link what I do to other people there that also feel they can relate to who I am, what I do, and how to make it. So the question that we've got today is there a difference between a businessman and an entrepreneur? Before we get into that, let's roll the intro. Now, running a business is a skill. It doesn't matter what business you're running, whether you're selling sweets on the street or you run a chain store. It doesn't really matter. It's a skill. Being an entrepreneur, on the other hand, is being passionate about something and seeing the gaps, and you want to make a difference, and you get into them because you see the gaps. Now, people always ask me, is there a big difference between the two? At a personal level, I feel there is a big difference. I consider myself an entrepreneur and not a business person. The two are very tightly knit, and I think there's a thin line between separating these two, but this is how I see it. A business person registers a business, gets a tax clearance, starts to transact, does whatever they do to make money. That's a business person. They see an opportunity, they go for it. That's a business person. An entrepreneur, on the other hand, is passionate about something. In my case, film and photography. I love it. Pursued it with a passion. I didn't go to school for it. I went to school for information technology, IT. I'm an IT programmer, you name it. But I feel in this day that we live in, I use my IT skills together with my passion, which is videography. And the two are so tightly knit together, it brings in money. Passion first, money later. Business person, you see the gaps, you've got a skill, you implement it, it's mathematical, it's rigid. An entrepreneur is artistic, they basically mold whatever it is they do into making money. And ultimately the ends are the same, but in my opinion, I'm sure if you did an analysis, you'd probably find out that the entrepreneurs do a whole lot better than business people. But that's another story for another day. Someone also asked me the other day, is there a difference between being educated and being certified? Now, someone will say, are the two not the same? Educated and certified. They're different. They're different. This is how I see it. We know in our context that we've got private schools, we've got public schools, we've got rural schools, right? But in spite of all this, we are all studying pretty much the same thing. So now the question is, does a person who went to a private school and a person who went to a rural school, are they educated or are they certified? Personally, when you finish your O-levels, say you wrote your O-levels, you become certified because someone tested you in a particular area and said you've got 5 O-levels, so they certified that you're good at remembering, remember that? Remembering what you were told. That's a certified person. Now, we're all certified. In Zimbabwe, will demand that you need 5 O-levels. Different parts of the country will define different things. But we're all certified to a certain extent. The difference now with an educated person is when you now become educated, the onus is on you to chase what it is. Like, I'll give an example of myself. I became certified in O-levels, I became certified in A-levels, I became certified in computer science at various different levels, up to degree level, finished that. Fine, so I am certified in IT. But when it came to my passion, which is photography and videography, the onus was on me to seek that knowledge. And seeking that knowledge is something that I never got in school, something that I probably never get in school, something that a whole lot of us will probably never get in school. In fact, for a whole lot of you who are chasing your passion, you're chasing your dream on the internet, on YouTube, you name it. That is being educated. That's the difference. That's the difference between being certified and educated. I hope it makes sense. Which leads me to another thing that I've always wanted to talk about. Now I'm in my 40s. I turned 40 a couple of years ago. Age, as far as Zimbabwe is concerned. As far as Zimbabwe is concerned, from the way I see it is, Zimbabwe will say the youth are people below 35, age 35, 18 to 35, right? I consider this the youth, which is all good. I will not argue with that. It's not my place to argue. My point is, as a country, we'll focus our resources simply because that is a large base of people, and indeed it is a large base of resources that we have as far as human resources is concerned. That's the biggest base. So we focus our energies on developing the youth and giving them funding for whatever they want to do, and hopefully they'll start a business that will grow and solve Zimbabwe's problems, one or the other. That's the way we view it. I kind of like disagree with that view in light of what I said earlier. And what I said earlier really is, when you're in your 40s, it's time for you to focus. So for me, as far as I'm concerned, when I was in my 30s, I had access to funding that the government was giving. The problem is, whether or not I took that funding is neither here nor there. The issue really is, even if I had taken that funding, would it have been put to good use? And I would beg to differ that in that whole large base of the youth, you probably have the bulk of the people who would take that money and buy a car or do something that is not so productive. It is only when you hit your 40s thereabout that you probably can focus on things. So I think sometimes we misdirect our energies. If you ask me, the 40 to 50 age group, not because I'm simply in it, I probably would say the same if I was 60. I probably would say the same if I was 20 and if I knew anything about this. But I feel, where Zimbabwe is concerned, from an education perspective, from a focus perspective, I feel there's a whole lot more focus for the country in that age group than there is in the younger age group. Yeah, but then again, that's just me. But that doesn't change how I do things, which is why I'm more focused in what I do right now, because I've got a family, I got children, I got things that I'm pushing for the future. So I am more focused as opposed to a mid-30s younger man. Another thing that came to mind the other time is, we're at an age right now where the internet is the thing. Everybody, and I mean everybody's on their phone doing whatever they're doing, so forth. No matter where you look, we're in an age, an information age. We've got tons and tons of information. And I look at Zimbabwe in particular, and I see people spend a lot of time on Facebook, on WhatsApp, on social media per se. Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that indeed. But I feel for an individual to maximize, if I bought a gig of data, let's put it this way. If I bought a gig of data and somebody else bought a gig of data, I am more likely to spend my gig of data on YouTube, browsing things that I want to learn about and enhancing the skill that I'm passionate about. A whole lot of other people would spend that gig downloading WhatsApp videos, playing around, whatever, Twitter, Facebook, just basically on things that are not necessarily productive. Now the question there is, we all had the same gig of data. But what you do with the data that you're given, with this information for world, what you do with your data is what matters. So I think sometimes we just lose focus. I think we'll be a whole lot better people if we could just zoom in into our needs more than our how would I even put it? More than what's out there, what everybody's doing. Someone asked me the other day that I'd like to start my business, I'm passionate about this, and I need funding, and that's the only thing that I need to get by. I strongly disagree with that. You do not need funding to start a business, and this is how I see it. If you're passionate about something, you pursue it. A farmer, for example, does not need to have 20 hectares of land to farm for them to be productive. You can start with your backyard. That needs you and your effort. And you don't need funding at that level. You will only need funding when your scale has grown to a certain level and your business is tapering out because you can no longer provide the funding for it. Then I would agree you need funding. But I totally disagree that you need funding to start a business. I think not. Yeah, but it's been an awesome day, people. And I've had an awesome day talking to you. I really, really love having these talk sessions, and yeah, I'll be posting a bit more of these, like I said. This is probably the second episode of something like that, so we can advise each other. I want you to grow just as much as I want to grow. So please subscribe to the channel. Yeah, the link is below. If you don't like the video, feel free to trash it. No problem. It's not an issue. We all don't like the same things. And yeah, I'm feeling 2019. I really wanted to get where we're going. So until then, fellas, I will see you in the next one.